try and give some management recommendations for some resource conflicts that are ongoing in Sri Lanka. So I had my main objective, which was to identify these perspectives, and I broke down my objectives into 2 sub-questions. The first was to do a policy analysis on the current policies that are in place, and then my second one was to do my case study to identify these social perspectives, and I did this in 2 fishing communities in Sri Lanka. So just to let you know, according to the FAO, all of the fishing in Sri Lanka is technically small scale, but they have sort of split up into 2. There's the multi-day fishing, which are these larger boats where they'll go out for week-long or month-long voyages, whereas I was looking at the single-day fishing, which was in these smaller fiberglass boats. They go out once or twice a day, or these outrigger canoes that are non-motorized. So they were the stakeholders that I was working with for the single-day fishermen. So the rationale behind my research was, as global fisheries are in decline, small-scale fisheries are the most vulnerable subset of the fisheries. Sri Lanka at the moment is fairly low down on the global rank of fisheries according to the Ocean Health Index, and as the fisheries stocks decline, competition will increase and resource conflicts will occur, and this affects compliance with modern management of the fisheries. And in Sri Lanka you can start to see this unravelling of modern management and with the lack of compliance. So where I was working was in Kalpitiya, which is in the Puntland district up in the north, and then Galle in the south. So Kalpitiya is it's much more rural, and it's a smaller community, and whereas Galle is bigger and a bit more urban. You can see, I don't know the point, but you can see that the coastal shelf in Kalpitiya is much broader, whereas in Galle it almost pinches in, and this affects the target species that they fish. So you can see in Galle there's this sort of the small pelagic species, so you've got the yellowfin, the bloodfishes, and etc. And then whereas in Puntland it's the demersal small fishes. Okay. So the methodology that I used, so I did interviews with some of the government agencies, that's what all the acronyms are in Sri Lanka, to do the policy analysis. But what I'm really going to speak to you today about is the Q methodology. And so in order to do this, I did initial interviews into the 2 sites, and from those interviews I constructed very short, simple statements, and then revisited the same sites and I got them to arrange them, and then I looked for patterns in these responses using PCA, which Miguel talked about earlier. So this is how you'd have it arranged. So imagine each of these boxes are a statement, and you would have people, the fishermen I was working with, arrange it on agree and disagree. And then I was able to get a far greater level of detail from these responses as opposed to just doing interviews. So the results, so also it's very fun to do. I was able to do this on fish boxes, in harbours, on boats sometimes, in people's houses, and people engage really, really well with it. So the results I got were 3 distinct social perspectives. The first was government cooperatives, and these were people who responded really well to top-down government-led initiatives, and they seemed to be thinking on a much longer timescale. The second was justified non-cooperatives, who were people who, these were the type of people who weren't complying with the policies that were in place, and they were acting on a much shorter timescale and felt justified in their actions. And the third were the fatalistic coalition gamers. These people were exceptionally pessimistic. They didn't seem to believe in either government or community-led initiatives, and were very unwilling to change in their behaviour. So the names of these perspectives were derived from the application of game theory, the 3 different categories of game theory that is applied to fisheries. Game theory in fisheries often indicates a co-management. We've heard about co-practice a little bit this afternoon. And co-management is where there's a balance between the government and user influence in the management. And so the beauty of trying to figure out these different perspectives is then applying management that adheres to all of them. And so there's quite a good opportunity in Sri Lanka at the moment, as there's this current gap where there's government agents who are doing the enforcement and the management, as opposed to the fishers and the fishers associations that are currently in Sri Lanka. So there's this gap, and if there was to be some sort of internally elected committees that acted as a conduit between these fishers associations and the government assistance, it would start to tick off some of the things that have been identified in these perspectives. So it would empower and ideally improve compliance. So this is one of the recommendations that I made. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, let me have them.
We've got time for one question, if anyone. Okay. Okay, and next we've got Anna Inman. Is Anna? Ah, yeah. And what better way to finish a marine conference but with a bit of whale watching? So,